Economies require social interactions. People stop interacting when people are dying, and so economies collapse. And so, in fact, plagues are thus a time of loss. We lose our lives, we lose our livelihoods, and we lose our way of life. And the pandemic can also inflame dark tendencies. And this has also been observed for a very long time. Fear, lies, denial, and blame are constant companions to plagues, seen for thousands of years. Everywhere, we always want to blame someone else for the problem. Or, for example, misinformation and superstition and lies, which have bedeviled us so much during this plague, have been described by authors for thousands of years. There is nothing new about almost anything that we are experiencing, except the fact that we are so shocked that once again we are facing this problem. Now, there are going to be 3 phases to this pandemic. This is something I wrote about at the beginning of the pandemic. There's the acute phase, which I think will last till 2022, which we're in now. That's when we're experiencing the biological and epidemiological shock of the virus as it inexorably spreads through our species, spreading across social network interactions. It's what I study in my laboratory, various kinds of contagions. And so the virus is spreading. Of course, misinformation is also spreading across the same ties. And so the virus is just going to spread and spread and spread and spread. And that will take until about 2022, till everyone has either been infected or vaccinated. Very few people will escape that. Hermits in the mountains, some exceedingly lucky individuals. You're either going to be infected naturally or you're going to be vaccinated. And at that point, we'll reach something known as the herd immunity threshold. The virus will not be eradicated at that point. It will still circulate, it will still kill people, but its epidemic force will have been nullified. It will no longer have this epidemic impact. And we will finally have put, sometime in 2022, the biological and epidemiological impact of the virus behind us. But like a tsunami washing up on shore, devastating the countryside, then the waters will recede, and you have to clean up the mess. And we are going to have quite a mess to clean up. We're going to have to cope with the clinical, psychological, social, and economic aftershocks of the virus. I already mentioned the clinical. Many of you are familiar with the kinds of problems we've been facing in our society. Millions of children have missed school. Millions of people lost their jobs. Millions of businesses have been permanently closed. We are borrowing trillions of dollars against the future to cope with the threat that we are facing now. These problems won't suddenly disappear when the virus is finally, when we get behind the acute phase. So we're going to have an intermediate phase, which is typical of pandemics, that probably will last until approximately 2024, 2023, 2024. These are not hard and fast dates. These feather into each other and so on. But anyway, that's what's going to happen. And then after that, we're going to enter the post-pandemic phase, which I think is going to be a little bit like a party, like the roaring 20s of the 21st century, like the roaring 20s of the 20th century.